Oh, wow. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Look at me, if you will, Andrew. Spell your first and your last name. Give us your title.
Andrew Rothman, Rothman. I'm the president of the Gun Owners Civil Rights Alliance.
Okay. What is it with this application that you have an issue with or that your agency does?
Well, the legislature was very, very clear on exactly what could be on the form and what couldn't. And for the last...
Let me stop you there. What can be on the form?
Sure.
What can be?
The legislature was very clear about what could be on the form and what couldn't. What can be on the form is really limited to the name, address, city, state, zip, phone number, ID number of the individual, and where that individual has lived for the last 5 years, their height, weight, eye color, hair color, any distinguishing tattoos or scars, and a statement by them saying that to the best of their knowledge they're not disqualified from possessing a firearm in Minnesota.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
And the authors of the bill were very clear when they said, and that's it. The language says you're not allowed to request or require voluntarily or involuntarily any other documentation or information. The language goes out of its way to be incredibly specific to say, no, that's it, really, we mean it.
And the law was passed when, and what was the name of the law?
The Minnesota Citizens Personal Protection Act was passed in 2003 due to a court challenge. It was passed again in 2005.
Okay. And then what do you claim the permit went on to ask?
Well, in the process of doing a routine revision of the application form, which was necessary for some small changes in the law, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, for reasons we don't understand, put an additional 18 questions about the person's background and history, none of which are permitted by the Minnesota law.
And explain to us how it works when someone is trying to get a gun. What process do they go through, and how does the BCA enter into it?
In order to carry in order to get a permit to carry a pistol in a public place, there's a multi-step process. First, you have to take a class. You have to complete that class and bring proof of that class completion within a year to your county sheriff. Then use a standardized state form to apply for the permit. You pay for that permit application.
With the county sheriff.
The sheriff then runs a background check on you and makes sure that you're not in any way prohibited by law from carrying a pistol in public.
And how does it get to the BCA? What's the BCA's role in this?
Well, the BCA is charged under the law since forever in writing the forms. The legislature requires that there be a standard form used throughout the state, and the Commissioner of Public Safety is delegated the authority to make those forms, but those forms have to comply with the law that requires them.
Okay. And so these are some of the questions according to the website, right?
Right.
And what about those questions? Is there one that stands out to you that's especially...
It's really 18 multi-part questions, and each one of them is an opportunity for a gotcha for the applicant. If they answer any of these questions incorrectly, inadvertently, it can be seen as fraud, and it can cause them to get in trouble. There's a reason that the application form was designed by the legislature to be very minimal, and then to give the Sheriff's Department 30 days to conduct a background investigation. They make sure that the individual doesn't have any felonies or any violent crimes on their record, that they're not addicted to drugs, that they have been adjudicated mentally incompetent, that they have passed a training course, and that the training course is provided by somebody who's authorized by the state to provide that training course. It's very extensive, and the idea is that this is a service to a citizen to exercise a constitutional right. There should not be additional roadblocks or hurdles placed in the way of that citizen.
Not that you know what the BCA was trying to do, but what's the mission, the intent behind asking additional questions like this?
At best, it is an excess of thoroughness that is not necessary. It could be the BCA trying to get the applicant to do the background check for herself instead of having the police agency do the background check. At worst, it's creating dozens of additional opportunities for somebody to make an accidental mistake that results in the denial of their permit application or even criminal charges.
And if that happened, why would you be concerned about that?
Well, we believe that the right to keep and bear arms, as guaranteed by the United States Constitution, is a fundamental constitutional right and a human right. And it's not the place of government, and we have to fight very hard against the idea of government placing impediments on your right to speak, on your right to worship, on your right to vote, or your right to keep and bear arms.
How many people, if you know this, in Minnesota have guns or permits for guns?
Over 185,000 people have a permit to carry a pistol in a public place. Okay. That's more than 1 in every 25 adults in the state, so it's really quite a lot of people. It's been estimated that of the approximately 5 million people in the state, about half of them live in a household that has firearms. And so we have a long tradition of hunting and sportsmanship in this state, and that's reflected in the number of people who have firearms in their home and the number of people who have a permit to carry a pistol in a public place.
Anything else you want to add? What would you understand, not that you understand, but you shared with us that the DPS has since changed its permit process online. Why do you think that happened? And your response to that?
Well, when we saw this new form that was released yesterday, the Gun Owners Civil Rights Alliance got in touch with the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension at the Department of Public Safety right away, and we spoke to the special agent who handles all the instructor queries, and we expressed some concern to him. We also talked to Representative Tony Cornish, one of the authors of the bill in 2005. And he was very concerned about it, and he went right to the Commissioner of Public Safety, who's appointed by the governor. Mm-hmm. As a citizen and a constituent, I also talked to my sheriff, Sheriff Jim Olson of Carver County. He was very concerned when he saw it because this form would have put the sheriff in the position where he was breaking the law by accepting this form from applicants with information that he's not allowed to ask for or collect, or in disobeying the mandate on the piece of paper that says your permit can't be processed without this information. So the sheriffs want to do the right thing. They want to follow the law. They're sworn to uphold the law, and they're elected to uphold the law. They were in a tight place. Sheriff Olson didn't want to be in that position, and he talked to the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, went right to the officials in that organization to try to get it straightened out. The BCA, to its credit, once it was pointed out the error that somebody in the organization has made, they acted very quickly to be service-oriented, to listen to the citizens of Minnesota, to listen to the lawmakers who make their rules. They pulled back this form, and they have assured us that they are going to make sure that they review the form with us first to make sure that there aren't any other concerns that they can fix before the form gets released.
Did they give you a written explanation, an email or anything, or it just happened?
I got a voicemail from a special agent at the BCA, and it wasn't. Okay. It was Special Agent Florell. Okay. And the agent didn't have a specific explanation. I had to try that again. The agent didn't have a specific explanation as to what had gone wrong, but he assured me that the incorrect form was being withdrawn. All of the law enforcement were instructed to collect the old form and to honor that old form, and that they're going to go back to the drawing board and to make sure that they have this form right before it's released again.
Okay, so they're going back to the old form right now.
Right now they're using the old form, which is everything required in the law. And if they want to do a little polishing and explain in greater detail the legal disqualifications, that's fine.
This seems very speedy. They took quick action in 24 hours.
It's almost unheard of. But when the BCA was hearing from elected sheriffs, from elected officials, and from citizens all at the same time, to their credit, they said, okay, we do have a problem and we're going to deal with it expeditiously. So we're very happy that they decided to do that. And that's a credit to the commissioner and her staff.
What about the people who went in? Like, how many people have in the last 24 hours applied and filled out this form?
It's hard to say. There are about 10,000 permit applicants increase every year. That doesn't include the ones that renew, which are probably another 15,000. So if you break that down, there's probably going to be some turnover for the people who took their carry class 2 weeks ago and got a copy of the form from their instructor. I'm sure they've turned in the old form. The Minnesota Sheriff's Association expressed some concern to the BCA, saying that they couldn't go cold turkey and stop accepting the old form because there were a lot of things in the pipeline, and that there would have to be a transition period. And I think that the BCA was sensitive to that. And when they do the transition again to a proper and legal form, I have confidence that they'll handle it in a way that doesn't put the sheriffs in a bind, that doesn't put the applicants in a bind, and doesn't provide a gotcha for anybody.
Great. Thank you.
Just some 2 shots.
Yeah, some 2 shots. Is there anything else that you'd like to say or share with us?
You do have to know that we are having a big gun rights rally at the Capitol.
When?
Monday, January 26th.
Okay.
Lord help us, we're going to be outside at noon.
What's wrong with you?
We're from Minnesota. We're not frightened by a little cold weather.
I know, but still.
And we're hoping it's warm.
Gun rights rally, state capitol.
We're calling it MN Gold. It's the Minnesota Gun Owners Lobby Day. And after a very brief program outside, the constituents are going to move in and speak to their individual senators and representatives in the Capitol, the state office building.
About various things. Tell me what time at the Capitol again?
Noon.
Noon?
On Monday the 26th. And then they'll be moving inside at 12:30.
Monday?
Okay, 12:18, pretty much.
Monday the 26th.
Yep.
And then after the noon rally, move inside and talk with senators and reps.
Right. And we've set up appointments with a lot of them already, and our volunteers are on the phone with the legislative assistants right now setting up more.
Who's president of the Minnesota Sheriff's Association?
Jim Franklin is the executive director.
Okay.
He's a good guy to talk to. He's been there a long time. He understands the ins and the outs.
Do you happen to have a number for him as well?
I'm sure I do.
Right there?
Sure.
Go ahead and grab it.
The good thing about Jim is
Thank you.
he does